The story begins with our main character, David, who is sitting on the tallest statue of the pharaoh in Egypt, a place almost impossible for a normal human to reach. Suddenly, David disappears from there. But how did this happen? To know that, we have to go 8 years back when David was just a student. In the same school, there was a girl named Millie who was David's best friend. David liked her, but never had the courage to express his feelings. One day, David brought a dancing crystal ball for Millie, which had a couple dancing inside. Millie loved this gift, but just as she was admiring it, a student named Mark came and snatched it away. Millie and David asked him to return the ball, but instead, he threw it onto a frozen river. David had brought this gift with so much love for Millie, so he went near the frozen river to retrieve it. As soon as he picked up the ball, the ice broke, and David fell into the river. Millie tried her best to save him, but David was pulled deep into the water. And then something magical happened. David suddenly teleported from the river straight into a library. David himself was shocked and confused about what had just happened. The people in the library were also stunned to see him appear out of nowhere. After some time, David went back home, where only his father was present, because when David was just 5 years old, his mother had left them. Seeing David, his father asked him where he had been the whole day. Out of fear, David suddenly teleported again and disappeared. This means that his power was triggered by fear. His father, William, was left in shock, unable to understand where his son had suddenly gone. Meanwhile, David placed the crystal ball outside Millie's house. When Millie saw it, she was confused. How did the ball end up there when David had drowned with it? Now David had realized his powers, and from the next day, he was no longer just an ordinary boy. He had become a jumper. The first thing David did for his safety was rent a hotel room. He then spent the entire day teleporting from one place to another. Jumpers could only teleport to places they had seen before. David decided to take advantage of his powers and planned to rob a bank in his city. To understand the security of the locker, he teleported inside and observed everything. After studying all the details, the next day, he took some tools, teleported straight from his hotel room to the bank locker, and found a massive amount of money. His small bag looked too tiny in front of all that cash. David took as much money as he could and teleported back to his hotel room. The next day, when the bank opened, the officers were shocked. They couldn't understand how the money had disappeared from a locked wall. Meanwhile, we see an officer named Roland, who looked at the locker scene and immediately realized that this was not the work of an ordinary thief, but of a jumper. Because Roland himself was a paladin. Actually, paladins are the ones who eliminate jumpers, meaning they are their enemies. After this, we see David, who is living a luxurious life using stolen money. David had put up pictures of different places in his room so that he could teleport there. Now David was using his powers for even the smallest tasks, from avoiding stairs to picking up the remote. David had a room where he had collected every currency in the world so that if he traveled to any country, he wouldn't face any problems. In this way, after becoming a jumper, David's life was filled with comfort and luxury. He could reach anywhere, anytime, in the blink of an eye, without worrying about anything. Sometimes David would teleport to the Big Ben clock tower to experience the best moments of life. Other times, he would appear in a lavish restaurant. Until now, no one had discovered his secret of being a jumper, so David was carefree. But his carefree days were about to end soon because one day, a man named Griffin saw him. This time, David had teleported into a bar where a girl was impressed by him. They developed a strong bond, and after spending time together, David took her to his room where they enjoyed some romantic moments. The next morning, without informing the girl, David teleported to the Bahamas, where he enjoyed various water activities. From there, he teleported straight to Italy, where he relaxed and had breakfast. David was traveling across different countries in mere seconds, having breakfast in one country and lunch in another. Meanwhile, we see the Paladins, who had captured a jumper and were now torturing him. The Paladins had a shockwave-controlling device with wires that emitted a magnetic pulse. This device was so dangerous that it prevented jumpers from using their powers. Roland, a ruthless paladin, pulled out a deadly knife and killed the captured jumper. The Paladins believed that jumpers were a threat to the world. They thought jumpers could misuse their powers and become a danger to ordinary humans. And this was indeed happening. Some were stealing, while others were causing destruction. During this time, Roland discovered the existence of a jumper named David. Without wasting any time, he directly arrived at David's hotel room and noticed the numerous pictures of different places on the walls. When David saw Roland in his room, he was startled, but Roland calmly said, "I'm neither a cop nor here for an investigation." David replied, "If you're not a cop, then why are you here?" As soon as David finished speaking, Roland pulled out the electric device and attacked him, sending powerful shocks through his body. The shockwaves weakened David's powers, making it difficult for him to see any location clearly, which meant he couldn't teleport anywhere. Roland continued his relentless attack, leaving David struggling to regain control. But at the last moment, David managed to teleport himself into his other room, barely escaping from Roland. Just a second before Roland arrived, David had already grabbed as much cash and as many passports as possible before teleporting to another location. Roland had no intention of letting David go. He immediately contacted his secret agencies and informed them about David. Meanwhile, all the locations displayed in David's room were now under surveillance, with agents stationed at each place, waiting for David to appear so that he could be caught as soon as possible. Meanwhile, David understood that Roland had captured his photos, and if he teleported to any of those locations, Roland's agents would easily catch him. That's why he started thinking of a safe place. Suddenly, he thought of his dad's house, so he went there but stayed hidden in his room. However, his dad already knew that David was in the house, so standing behind the door, he asked, "David, are you inside?" David didn't respond. After all, he had returned home after 8 years, and he had no idea how to talk to his father. He had no words, so he remained silent. But before leaving, he simply told his dad, "You're not crazy." Hearing this, his dad was sure that David had really come home. After that, David went to meet Millie at her house, but she wasn't there. When Millie's mom saw David alive after so many years, she was overjoyed and hugged him. She also told him that Millie worked at a bar and that he could meet her there. Hearing this, David went to the bar. As soon as Millie saw him, she recognized him. At the same time, Mark also spotted David. Mark was the same guy who had thrown the crystal ball into the river. Mark approached David and started talking to him, but David, hiding his true identity, said, "I'm not the same David you knew. You must be mistaken. It's better if you stay away from me and my girlfriend Millie." But Mark wasn't going to let go of the opportunity to trouble them. Right in front of David, he started harassing Millie. Seeing this, David was furious. Without wasting a second, he beat Mark to a pulp, settling his past score with him right then and there. During the fight, David teleported Mark to the same locker where he had stolen the money. After teaching Mark a lesson, he returned to Millie and spent a wonderful time with her. Since childhood, Millie had dreamed of traveling to places like France, Rome, and India, so David decided to fulfill her dream. He asked Millie, "Will you come to Rome with me?" Hearing this, Millie asked about his job. David's job was robbing banks, but he simply said, "I'm a banker. I transfer money from one place to another." Millie was impressed, and then their journey began, from Los Angeles to Rome. Meanwhile, the police department found Mark. He told the police, "I teleported to this locker. My friend has this power." The police didn't believe him at all and laughed, thinking it was a joke. But then Roland arrived. He understood teleportation very well. He started questioning Mark about David, asking for every small detail. Eventually, he found out everything about David and Millie. The scene then shifted to David and Millie, who were getting even closer, enjoying romantic moments, and becoming intimate. Their trip and relationship were going great. Later, they visited a special place in Rome, the Colosseum. It was built by ancient kings and was like a maze full of entertainment, but now this place had been shut down. When David and Millie found out about this, they became sad. David once again used his powers and unlocked the back door, sneaking Millie inside while the security guards outside remained unaware. Inside the monument, there were many antiques that made Millie very happy. There, they saw a restricted gate with a strict warning not to enter, but for Millie's happiness, David decided to open it. Just as he was about to leave, he encountered a guy named Griffin. Griffin told David, "I came here using teleportation just like you." That meant Griffin was also a jumper. Griffin looked at David and said, "You are a fool bringing your girlfriend here." Meanwhile, we learned that the paladins had also arrived to capture them. Before the paladins could get to them, David and Griffin teleported from one place to another, escaping at the last moment. Eventually, Griffin reached his secret location. Here, whenever a jumper made their first jump, a glowing crystal wall appeared behind them. Touching this wall allowed them to return to that exact location. David did the same and teleported to Griffin's hideout. Seeing David, Griffin said, "You shouldn't have come here. If the paladins followed you, my secret place will never be safe again. Besides, instead of hiding, you should be saving your girlfriend, who is still in the Colosseum in Rome." Without wasting any time, David quickly teleported back and told Millie, "We need to get out of here now." Millie was confused. She didn't understand why David was so scared and asked him what was wrong. Just then, the police spotted them coming out of the Colosseum. They stopped them and asked, "If the door was locked, how did you two get inside?" David was taken to the police station for investigation. After some time, a woman named Mary arrived. She was actually David's mother. To protect her son, Mary warned him, "Roland is coming to catch you. You need to escape now." With his mother's help, David rushed back to his hotel, took Millie, and headed to the airport. David told her, "I have to go for some work. Take care of yourself." Millie was suspicious. She questioned him, "Why are you running from the police? How do you teleport from one place to another? And what exactly is in your bag right now?" Hearing all these questions, David finally told Millie the truth. "I am a jumper. My job is robbing banks, and right now my bag is full of stolen money." Upon learning this, Millie was heartbroken. Without saying much, she bought her own ticket and left. After this, David went to Griffin and asked, "Why do these people want to capture us?" Griffin explained, "They are our enemies. They killed my entire family just to get to me. They eliminate every jumper's relatives to wipe us out completely. That's why I take revenge. Whenever a paladin comes after me, instead of running, I kill them." At that moment, a question popped into David's mind. How did the paladin track him to Rome? He had never put a picture of Rome on his wall, and that's when he realized who was responsible. He teleported straight to Mark. Mark was the only one who knew Millie wanted to visit Rome and that David had taken her there. Furious, David attacked Mark and beat him mercilessly. David asked Mark, "What else have you told the paladins?" Mark smirked and said, "I told them everything about you and Millie. They know you have powers." Hearing this, David became even more furious, but instead of wasting time, David leaves Mark and rushes to Griffin. He tells him, "My girlfriend is in danger. The paladins could harm her at any moment." But Griffin doesn't care. He tells David to leave his secret place as soon as possible. Griffin had built his secret hideout beneath a tomb in the middle of the desert, a place where the paladins could never reach. But since David kept coming there, Griffin decided to teleport himself to China. However, after he jumped, a small crystal ball was left behind. David touched it and followed Griffin to China. Seeing David again, Griffin finally decided, "Fine, we'll escape together. There's no point in separating now." Suddenly, the paladins arrived at their location. They had a shockwave machine, which they used to capture David. The device weakened David badly, but somehow, he managed to teleport to Griffin's secret hideout. Griffin always knew that one day the paladins would find this place, so he used a flame device and killed many of them. But Roland, being extremely clever, avoided Griffin's trap. He then kidnapped Millie and locked her inside her own house, forcing David and Griffin to come for her. Roland's plan was clear. He wanted to capture both of them. Griffin had a bomb and planned to plant it inside Millie's house to kill multiple paladins at once. But David refused. If the bomb exploded, Millie could die. This led to a fight between David and Griffin. They kept teleporting from one country to another, fighting over the remote control of the bomb. Griffin managed to get the remote and tried to press the detonation button. His plan was to trigger an explosion through the crystal wall, sending shockwaves to Millie's house and wiping out the paladins. But David, determined to save Millie, kept teleporting further and further away. Finally, he trapped Griffin inside an electric tower and took the remote before escaping. Now David went to Millie's house to rescue her. As soon as he arrived, the paladins attacked him and trapped him in magnetic waves. With great difficulty, David made an enormous jump, teleporting the entire house to another location. The paladins failed to capture him. David and Millie both ended up underwater. When David tried to teleport again, the entire house landed inside a library. Now David decided to take revenge on Roland. He teleported Roland to a remote mountain from where returning was impossible. After this, David went to meet his mother. There he also met his cousin's sister. His mother revealed the truth. She said, "I left you because I am a paladin. When I found out that my own son was a jumper, I had only two choices, either to kill you or leave you forever. So I chose to stay away from the family." Even now, she refused to accept David there. David also learned that the paladins had killed his father. After meeting his mother, David went back to Millie. Together, they teleported to a new place to start a fresh life. And with that, the story ends. So how did you like this incredible story? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like and share. And to stay connected, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. See you in the next video. Thanks.